Now that I have your attention, welcome to Basic Principles of Design. We're going to learn today about how we need to capture somebody's attention right at the beginning. You had me at hello. That's exactly what we need to do with our audience. We need to capture their attention right away. We'll take a look at other companies, McDonald's for one. They capture our attention because they have award-winning fries, and that when you see these golden arches, you're thinking about their food and you're thinking about maybe that you're hungry. How about Starbucks? If you are a coffee fan, if you see this green maiden from the sea, you are thinking about coffee. How about the Apple company? When you look at this Apple logo, you know, hey, they have great iPhones. They have really good apps for their iPhones. It's a great product. With all those and many more are what really brand themselves to become great companies and to keep you coming back for great products. Today we're going to look at the 4 principles that it takes to get one chance to get that person's attention. The first one is contrast. Contrast. The idea behind contrast is to avoid elements on the page that are merely similar. If the element, type, color, line, thickness, shape, space, etc. are not the same, then make them very different. Contrast is often the most important visual attraction on a page. It's what makes a reader look at the page in the first place. Repetition. Repetition is a repeating of visual elements of the design throughout the piece. You can repeat colors, shape, texture, spatial relationships, line, thickness, font, size, graphic concepts, etc. This develops the organization and stretches the unity. Alignment. Alignment is how you place something on the page. Nothing should be placed on the page arbitrarily or by chance or, oh, I think I'll throw it this way. Every element should have some useful connection with another element on the page. They should be grouped together. This creates a clean, sophisticated, fresh look. Proximity. Items relating to each other should be grouped close together. When several items are in close proximity to each other, they become one visual unit rather than several separate units. This helps organize information, reduces clutter, and gives the reader a clear structure. The basic purpose of a good design is to bring unity and organization. Readability. Let's take a look at this closet. It is very unorganized. Probably couldn't find that red shoe that you were looking for because it's on the other side. When you look at this closet, very organized, and you'll probably be able to find exactly what you're looking for. And that's what a good design is. It's like a well-organized closet. Let's take a look at proximity. Items relating to each other should be grouped close together. When several items are in close proximity to each other, they become one visual unit rather than several separate units. This is where we want it to help the organization of the information. We don't want it all to be cluttered. So let's take this design. Nothing really is close to each other. They're all in the equal corners and then something in the middle. Let's change it up a bit. Let's make this one a little bit bolder. Ralph Royster Doyster, because he is actually the name you want to, the second name you want to remember. Mermaid Cafe is the first name you want to remember because you want them to come back. So let's group them all together. Or let's group them according to their proximity. Mermaid Cafe. That should be the first thing that the eye looks at. But what about Mermaid Cafe? Is it, where is it? Who owns it? What is associated with it? Well, of course, Ralph is. So we're going to put those two together. What's the next thing we want the person to read? Well, where is the Mermaid Cafe? That's the next place. But is there a bread street in Kentucky? How about a bread street in Michigan? Sure. So we want to know where the bread street is, and it's connected in New London, New Hampshire. Then, of course, the phone number. Where are we going to put the phone number? Well, that goes right underneath where it's located, so that if you really want to know more information after where it's located, you can call them. So that's proximity, grouping things together so they read together. How about alignment? Nothing should be placed on the page at random. Every element should have some useful connection with another element on the page. This creates a clean, sophisticated, fresh look. It also helps the reader, because the reader has been trained to read left to right, top to bottom. So let's take this apart. We have our proximity. Now let's work on alignment. We know that the Mermaid Cafe is the first thing we want to read, so we're going to put it in alignment towards the side of the page. If you put it in alignment going on the right, flushing right, then you're going to want everything else flushing right, because that's how the reader wants it read. Everything on one side. So there's our Ralph. We're going to go ahead and put our street address, state, and our phone number, and it's all on the same side of the page. How about repetition? Repetition are a repeating of elements of design throughout the piece. Here we don't have any elements other than type itself. So the thickness of the type is important. So let's see if we can come up with some ideas about the repetition. Mermaid Cafe is very bold. Let's repeat that boldness with the phone number. Now, some people like to repeat different elements, like a point or a bullet, or they find a symbol really exciting. So we don't want to be annoying. It's kind of like a woman wearing a red dress. She accents with all of these black things, the black ribbon, a black necklace, a black bracelet, another bracelet, black shoes, black hose. Everything is layered with all kinds of repeating black. But you don't want to be annoying. You want it to be graceful. You don't want it to look too much overdone. So let's look at contrast. Contrast, the idea behind it is to avoid elements on the page that are merely similar. You want them to stand out. If the elements, let's say the type, color, line, or thickness, are not the same, meaning they don't belong to each other, then make them very different. Contrast is often the most important visual attraction on a page. It's what makes a reader look at the page in the first place. Remember, you had me at hello? So let's take this apart one more time with contrast. Let's make the Mermaid Cafe and Ralph Royster Doyster in white and put the black background. Now that has got a starking contrast. It grabs your attention. What else can we do? Well, we have this big old white area and a big black area. It looks kind of plain. It would be selling, the card would be looked at, but it may be tossed quickly because it's not really grabbing our attention. It's kind of boring. So let's throw a little Mermaid Cafe. We're going to add the mermaid's tail. We're going to put the top of the tail in white on the black background, and we're going to take the bottom of the tail and put it in black on white. Now we have a good design going. Remember, the reader wants to read left to right. So now we've just given them a little help by putting a tail in there that brings them into the first word, Mermaid Cafe. And then the rest just reads naturally. Proximity, alignment, repetition, contrast. If you look at it as an acronym, it could be PARC, P-A-R-C, or CRAP. Thank you, and we'll be working more with these elements, these principles, in the future.